Welcome back, Troglodytes, to the Trogly's Guitar Show. First off, before we do this case review, I've got to say it. Thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers. It's been a dream of mine to have a YouTube channel. When I first started making these videos, I definitely didn't think it would take off by any sorts. I just thought I was demonstrating my guitars, but this has slowly become more of a documentation channel where we document rare guitars. I teach you guys about guitars, and we hear how they sound nowadays. So to commemorate 1,000 subscribers, I thought I would do a case review on the absolute best case for your Les Paul, the Generation 2 Gibson chainsaw case. Now this case came out in the late 70s. Late 77, 78, I believe, is when they kind of first came out. And there's a lot of different versions out there on these. The very first version only has 2 latches on the front and not this third one on the back. Now there's actually 2 different versions of a Gen 1. Some of them have additional padding on the inside, whereas most of them don't. Then Generation 2 came along. The only thing different on these guys is they add a back latch, and that's why these are the #1 case. Gen 1s are collector's items because there wasn't that many of them made, but Gen 2s, these are the best things because they have 3 latches. And then there's Gen 3. Gen 3 is not as good of a case, but they're still really good for shipping because they're nice and big and bulky. But as far as protecting your investment, this right here is what you want. I actually have right here a really rare piece of case candy for these. It's the Gibson Protector pamphlet here. Here you can kind of see what the original design was. You can see the additional padding I was talking about. I believe I currently have one of every generation just because I'm a huge fan of these cases, and I plan on doing a full video showing the differences between them all. But I thought I would share this little piece of case candy with you before we do the review. As with all my case reviews, I go through 6 different categories: how good the handle is, the overall aesthetics of the case, the fit of the case, durability, the value, and the latches of the case. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is the handle that I base all of my judgment of other handles on. You cannot ask for a better handle than this one. You see this, case designers? Built into the case. This case handle will not fall off because it's literally a part of the case. And if you want something even better than that, there's cushioning on these. Now the only bad thing about these cushionings, if you're buying one of these, is that over the years, sweaty hands holding it, it does start to deteriorate. But most examples aren't too extreme. Like this one's in perfect shape, it's nice and padded. I will say that the padding does vary example to example. Another reason why this handle is so fantastic is you can see this angle right here. If you hold it right here, this is how, usually you like to hold a guitar when you're walking. It's nice and comfortable, you can do it. But if you want to hold it straight forward, you also have this angle for that. This handle is just perfect. I love it. So this handle gets a perfect 10 out of 10. Our next topic is aesthetics. Now this one I might be a little bit biased. I think this case is kind of cool looking. It's got a sweet name, the Chainsaw or Protector case. I mean, how cool is it saying oh yeah, I've got a chainsaw case with me. This case is actually made of a material called Asdel. I mean, this stuff is hard. So it kind of has a very interesting appearance to it. The interior of all the Gen 2 cases is red. And they have a compartment there and just nice padding all around. So it has a very interesting black and red, kind of like a coffin Dracula vibe going on. So as far as the aesthetics go for these cases, I give them a 10 out of 10. Sure, they're not as fancy as like a Lifton reissue, but I think they have a really cool vibe going on. Our next topic is the latches. This is the only downfall to this case. These latches are quite famous for breaking. I used to know the manufacturer's number of the times this could be used. I think it was like 20,000, something like that, before it would wear out from normal use. But a lot of people do not like these cases because of these plastic latches. Now, I do want to say these are very comfortable latches to use. I actually really like them. Their design's very nice. You just push them up like this, you'll hear a click, and then you push it down like that. As long as you use these latches properly, they won't break on you unless you use them a lot. Now, if you're improperly doing it, it's not fully on the top there, and you're pushing down on it, yes, it will eventually fail, either at this area where it bends, or right here. Luckily, somebody has gone through and manufactured replacement latches for these, but you do have to do some riveting in order to get them on. So overall, I like these latches, but I will say guitars that come with these, I open the case less and less because I'm just scared the latch will fall off. Even though I know they won't fall off unless you really abuse them, I'm gonna have to give these latches a 7 out of 10. We'll go ahead and do the durability test of this case. This thing is indestructible. I mean, it really is. It'll hold some weight. Does it flex a little bit? Yes, it does. But I really think a car could run this case over and it would be okay. Now here in the neck support area, it does not flex hardly at all. Here I am standing on this case. Yes, it will kind of puncture in here, but where you need it the most, it really doesn't flex at all. I give this case a 10 out of 10 for durability. Our next topic is fit. Now these cases can fit SGs and Les Pauls as well as a few other guitars. They have the perfect double neck rest. They don't move too much side to side. This is a 2014 Les Paul Studio. You can see it has a little bit of side motion, but up and down it's very secure. I have no worries about this case and the guitar in it. You can see it's well padded. It has this cutout there so your strap button doesn't smash against the bottom of the case if you drop it, which prevents a huge crack running up your guitar. I mean, it's just well padded. The fit is excellent on Les Pauls, and the headstock is joisted up just enough so it's not touching the bottom. And honestly, SGs fit even more snugly. I mean, you really have to move that thing to make it move. So perfect case for an SG or a Gibson Les Paul. One last test, a Era Correct Les Paul Custom, the Les Paul. These older ones and higher end guitars like Standards and Customs fit even better because the Studios are a little bit smaller, but not by a lot. Overall, the fit of this case gets a perfect 10 out of 10. It gets bonus points even because it fits not only Les Pauls snugly, but also SGs just as well. Our last topic is the value of the case. Now, these prices vary heavily. I mean, you can get a really good deal on one of these one day for like $120, and another day you might have to pay somebody $350. I don't care how much you pay for one of these. It's a perfect 10 out of 10 for value. These in mint condition can sell all the way up into like the $400 range. Now, again, there's a few different variations on there. I mean, I'm going to do this in a different video. But Gen 1s sell for a premium just because they're more rare, not because they're better case. Again, they're missing this back latch. So they're actually inferior cases. And I will say that the padding on most of them are a little thinner. So overall, if you need an amazing Les Paul case that kind of has a cool vibe to it, definitely get one of these. This is the case a lot of Burst owners use as their gigging case if they ever take their Burst out to like a guitar show or a gig. This is the case that they go for because it's way better than the original Lifton, and it's just a perfect case. There's not much more I can say about this thing. It scores a 95% only because there's a little bit of mistrust with the handles. But if you replace these handles with metal latches, those are some of my favorite modifications on these. But at the same time, I'm a little sad because, again, I do like these latches. I'm just always scared they're gonna break. So thank you, Troglylites, for tuning in. I hope you learned a little bit about my absolute favorite Les Paul case that was ever made. If there's one thing I want to do for the whole world, once I get a little bit more established, I would love to start a case company and reissue these cases. Alright, Troglylites, thank you for watching. We will catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.